Welcome back. A lot of people feel like they are working incredibly hard. They feel like they're making decent money, but mathematically, they're staying in the exact same place every single month. That is frustrating because you are not lazy, you are not stupid with money, you are probably doing most things right. But there is a gap between your effort and your results. Here's the thing about personal finance that nobody wants to admit. It is not magic. It is not a personality contest. It is not about manifesting abundance or waking up at 4 a.m. to crush your goals. It is just math and a little bit of physics. If you are working hard but not moving forward financially, it means there is friction in your system or there is a leak. Gravity is pulling you backward faster than your legs can push you forward. That is not a character flaw. That is just physics. Today, we are going to find 5 everyday financial leaks, and we are going to fix them using basic logic. No spreadsheets, no complicated budgeting apps, just simple cause and effect. Let us start with the heaviest rock first. The average American household that carries credit card debt carries about $8,000 of it, and the average interest rate on that debt right now is around 24%. Let me say that number again so it sits in the room. 24%. Now, here is where the physics comes in. A lot of people try to do 2 things at once. They have credit card debt, but they also try to invest in the stock market. They put $200 into their Roth IRA, and they pay the minimum on their credit cards. On paper, that sounds responsible. You are doing both. You are saving for the future, you are paying your bills. Balanced, right? No, that is not balance. That is carrying a rock up a hill while also trying to sprint. Here's the metaphor. Imagine you want to climb a mountain. Your goal is to reach the top. That top is financial freedom. Your leg strength is your income and your investments. The stock market historically grows at about 10% per year, so think of investing as your leg muscles pushing you upward. Now imagine someone puts a 20-pound rock in your backpack. That rock is your credit card debt at 24% interest. Every month, that rock gets heavier because 24% interest means the debt grows faster than almost anything else in your financial life. Your investments are earning you 10% going up, but your debt is pulling you down at 24%. Gravity always wins. Let me do the math plainly. If you have $5,000 in credit card debt at 24%, that debt costs you about $100 a month just in interest. That is money you light on fire. Meanwhile, if you invest $5,000 in the stock market and earn 10%, you make about $40 a month. You are losing $60 every single month by trying to do both. So, here's the solution, and it's simple. Stop climbing. Stop investing. Temporarily. Except for one exception. If your employer offers a 401k match, only invest enough to get that free money, because that match is a 100% return. That beats everything. But beyond that, stop. Take the backpack off, throw every available dollar at that 24% rock, every extra dollar from your budget, every side hustle dollar, every tax refund. Because paying off 24% debt is not just good, it's a guaranteed 24% return on your money. Name one investment that guarantees you 24%. You cannot. It does not exist. Once the backpack is empty, then you can start climbing again. And you will climb so much faster without that weight. All right, point 2. This one makes people uncomfortable because it touches something emotional. Cars. I am not going to tell you that you cannot like cars. You can like cars, but we are going to separate like from math. Here is the metaphor. Imagine you go to a store, and in that store there is a massive block of ice. It is beautiful, it is shiny, it smells new, and it costs $40,000. But here is the catch. You are buying this block of ice in the middle of July. It is 95 degrees outside, and you are going to pay for it with a credit card that charges you interest every single month for 7 years. The second you walk out of that store, that ice starts melting, fast. That is a new car. The average new car loses about 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. That is not an opinion, that is just data. A $40,000 car becomes a $32,000 car in the first hour of ownership, and you are paying interest on the original $40,000 for 7 years, while the thing you bought turns into a puddle. Let me extend the metaphor. After 1 year, that block of ice has melted down to about $30,000 in value, but you still owe the bank nearly the full $40,000. You are underwater. That means you owe more than the thing is worth. You are paying a bank for the privilege of holding a shrinking puddle of water. Here's the simple solution. A car is transportation. That is its job. It moves you from point A to point B. It is not an investment. It is not an asset. It is a tool. So, buy a reliable, slightly used car. Look for something that is 3 to 5 years old. Let the previous owner pay for the melted ice. They took the 20% hit. They paid the depreciation tax. You just buy the solid core that is left. A 3-year-old car with 50,000 miles on it will get you to work exactly as reliably as a brand new car, and it will cost you half as much. If you want to buy a brand new car because it makes you happy, that's fine, but call it what it is. You are not buying transportation. You are buying happiness. And happiness is fine, just do not pretend it's a smart financial decision. Most wealthy people drive boring, reliable, slightly used cars. There's a reason for that. They are not better than you, they just don't fight gravity.
Point 3 is the one that confuses people the most because the numbers look so small. $14.99, $9.99, $12.99. These are micro subscriptions. The gym you signed up for in January and have not visited since February. The streaming service you watch one show on once every 3 months. The app that charges you monthly for a feature you forgot existed. Here's the metaphor. Imagine you have a car tire. It is a good tire. It holds air fine. But somewhere in the rubber, there is a tiny hole, a micro puncture, so small you cannot even see it. Every day, that tire loses a little bit of air. Not enough to blow out, not enough to make the car undrivable, but enough that every morning you have to get out the air pump and refill the tire just to drive straight. That is what micro subscriptions do to your finances. None of them will bankrupt you. None of them will blow up your budget overnight. But they create constant low-grade friction. Every single month, you lose a little air, and you have to work a little harder just to stay in the same place. But here's where the math gets scary. $15 a month does not feel like real money, but let me show you what $15 a month becomes over time. $15 a month is $180 a year. If you invest that $180 every year for 30 years, and the stock market averages 10%, that $15 a month grows into over $30,000. Let me say that again. $15 a month, $30,000. That is not a metaphor. That is compound interest. Now multiply that by 3 subscriptions. You have a gym membership you do not use, a streaming service you forgot about, and an app subscription from a free trial you never canceled. That's $45 a month. Over 30 years, that's nearly $100,000. So here's the solution, and it's my favorite trick because it requires almost zero effort. I call it the tire change. Once a year, report your debit card or credit card as lost. Call the bank. Say you lost it. They'll send you a new card with a new number. Now, here's the key. When the new card arrives, you don't automatically update all your subscriptions. You wait. You only enter the new card number into the services that you actively miss after 1 week. The streaming service you use every day, you'll notice that's gone within hours. Update it. The gym you actually go to, you'll notice. Update it. But the app you forgot about, the subscription that was quietly draining your account, you won't notice, and it will cancel itself. That's it. That's the whole trick. Let the tire leaks seal themselves.
Point 4 is the most subtle leak on this list because it feels like success. You get a raise, $10,000 more per year. You are making more money. You feel good. You deserve it. So you upgrade your apartment. You start eating out more. You buy nicer clothes. You get a slightly better car. And at the end of the year, you look at your bank account and somehow you are saving exactly the same amount as before the raise. This is called lifestyle creep. And here's the metaphor. Imagine you are on a treadmill. You are walking at a steady pace, 3 miles per hour. That is your old salary. Then you get a raise, so you start running faster, 5 miles per hour. You're working harder, sweating more, your legs are moving faster. But someone else is controlling the treadmill belt, and the second you start running faster, they turn up the speed of the belt. Now the belt is also moving at 5 miles per hour. You are running faster, but relative to the belt, you are in the exact same spot. That is lifestyle creep. You earn more, but your expenses rise by the exact same amount. So your savings rate never changes. You are working harder, sweating more, but your financial position is identical to where you started. And here's the real problem. Most people think the goal is to earn more money. But earning more money without controlling your expenses does nothing. The goal is not income. The goal is the gap between your income and your expenses. That gap is your freedom. If you earn $10,000 more but spend $10,000 more, your freedom did not grow at all. You just bought a more expensive treadmill. Here is the simple solution. It's called the 50-50 rule, and it is automatic. You do not need willpower. When you get a raise, before you ever see the money, automatically route 50% of that new income to your investments. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your brokerage account or your Roth IRA. Do it on payday. The same day the money arrives, half of the raise leaves. The other 50% you can spend. Upgrade your apartment, eat nicer dinners, enjoy the raise. This works because you are not depriving yourself. You're not saying no to everything, you are just saying half. You get to enjoy half of every raise today, and the other half builds your freedom for tomorrow. After 10 years of raises, that 50% becomes a massive pile of money, and you never felt the sacrifice because you never saw the money in the first place.
Point 5 is the one that breaks my heart the most because it is not about spending too much. It is about waiting. I talk to people who say things like this. I will start investing when the market crashes. I'm waiting for a good entry point. I want to save up $10,000 first so it feels meaningful. Here is the metaphor. Imagine you have an apple seed. You want to grow an apple tree. You know that if you plant the seed today, in 5 years, you will have apples. But you do not plant it. Instead, you stand in your yard holding the seed. You are waiting to test the pH balance of the soil. You want to find the perfect dirt. You read articles about soil composition. You watch videos about optimal planting conditions. 5 years go by. You are still standing in the yard holding the seed. Your soil knowledge is perfect. You know exactly where to plant. But your neighbor, that neighbor planted their seed 5 years ago in normal, muddy, imperfect dirt. And right now, that neighbor is eating apples. Time is the most important variable in investing. Not timing, time. The stock market goes up and down. That's normal. It crashes, it recovers. It crashes again. Over long periods, it goes up. But the single biggest factor in how much money you end up with is not how smart you are. It is how early you started. Let me show you the math. Person A starts investing at age 25. They invest $5,000 every year for 10 years. Then they stop completely. They never invest another dollar. Person B starts investing at age 35. They invest $5,000 every year for 30 years. They invest 3 times as much money total, $150,000 compared to person A's $50,000. Who has more money at age 65? Person A, by a lot, because their money had 10 extra years to compound. The early starter wins even if they stop investing entirely. The late starter loses even if they invest for 3 decades. So here's the solution. And it is boring. That's the point. Buy a low-cost index fund that tracks the S&P 500. That's just a basket of the 500 biggest companies in America. You don't need to pick stocks. You don't need to research companies. You just buy the whole market. Then you put the seed in the dirt today, not when you have more money,
Not when the market crashes, not when you feel ready, today. Start with $20 a week. Start with $50 a month. The number does not matter. What matters is that you start and that you keep adding regularly, every single payday. A mediocre strategy that you actually do will always beat a perfect strategy that you never start.
One more thing, a bonus leak, because people always ask me about this one. Point 6, the open window. You have done everything right. You paid off the credit cards, you bought a boring used car, you canceled the dead subscriptions, you are investing every payday into an index fund. But you still feel broke. You look at your bank account and nothing seems to grow, and you cannot figure out why. Here is the metaphor. Imagine you are in a warm house in the middle of winter. You have a heater running. The heater is your income. It is pumping warm air into the room. But there is a window open, just a crack, and outside it is freezing. The heater works hard, it runs all day, but the room never gets warm because the cold air rushes in as fast as the hot air comes out. That open window is your fixed monthly obligations that you forgot to question. Not the big ones like rent or car payments, the medium ones, the insurance policy you've had for 8 years, the phone plan you never renegotiated, the internet bill that crept up $20 without you noticing. These are not subscriptions. These are services you actually need, but you are paying the lazy tax on them. You are paying whatever price the company decided to charge you this year, and that price almost never goes down on its own. Let me give you a real example. The average person overpays for car insurance by about $40 a month because they never shopped around. $40 a month is $480 a year. Invested for 20 years, that's nearly $30,000. Same thing with your phone bill. The average family overpays by $30 a month because they are on an old plan with features they do not use. Same thing with your internet. Most people call their provider 0 times. The people who call once a year and say, "I want to cancel," get their bill cut by 20% immediately. So here is the solution. It takes one afternoon a year. Call it the window closing day. Pick a Saturday, sit down with your bank statement from last month, circle every recurring bill that is not rent, not utilities, not a loan payment, insurance, phone, internet, streaming, gym, all of them. Then do one thing for each one. Either cancel it or call them and ask for a lower rate. That's it. You don't need to be aggressive. You just say, "I've been a customer for X years, can you lower my bill?" If they say no, ask to cancel. They will almost always transfer you to a retention department that can offer a discount. This is not about being cheap. This is about closing the windows so your heater can actually warm the room. You have already done the hard work. You fixed the big leaks. But if you leave the medium leaks open, you will still feel cold, and you will wonder why. Close the window. Keep the warm air inside. That's the final leak.
All right, let me pull this together. We talked about 5 leaks: the heavy backpack of credit card debt, the melting ice of new car loans, the leaky tire of micro subscriptions, the treadmill of lifestyle creep, and the perfect soil of analysis paralysis. Notice what none of these required. None of them required extreme willpower. None of them required you to be a financial genius. None of them required you to live on rice and beans in a studio apartment. All of this just requires removing friction, taking the rocks out of your backpack, stopping the leaks, getting off the treadmill, planting the seed in normal dirt. Personal finance is not about being better than other people. It is not about being the most disciplined person in the room. It is just math and physics. Gravity works on everyone the same way. Compound interest works on everyone the same way. You do not have to outsmart the system. You just have to stop fighting against it. So here is what I want you to do. Pick one of these 5 leaks, just one, and fix it this week. If you have credit card debt, throw every extra dollar at it and pause your investing.
If you have a 7-year car loan, sell the car and buy something boring and reliable. If you have subscriptions you forgot about, do the lost card trick. If you just got a raise, set up the 50% automatic transfer before you see the money. If you've been waiting to invest, buy one share of an S&P 500 index fund today. One leak, 1 week. That is all it takes to change the trajectory. I'm Dollar Dave. Do the math and go do whatever you want. See you next time.